So we're approaching a farmer's market here. This particular farmer's market is actually at a library and a park. So it's a really great centrally located use of public property to promote healthy food access. And so it also shows us one of the most important things when thinking about where should a farmer's market go. First thing, how are the farmers going to get there? Farmers drive big trucks, and so they need to be able to safely get in and out of the market. This is a great setup because these trucks are able to drive straight up to where their stalls are going to be and go straight out through the parking lot that's providing parking for the market. So farmers markets are one great way to provide access to the healthiest foods like fresh fruits and vegetables, while at the same time they can serve as community hubs and are incredibly important for reasons beyond healthy food access within communities. For example, we're at this farmers market that's also at a library. Now, what can planners do to promote farmers markets within their community? Well, one way is to provide for them in zoning codes as recognized uses. In this chapter, we'll discuss not only how farmers markets can be included in zoning codes, but also some of the ways that accessory strategies can be used to promote other important issues in food access, like access for people using Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program funds while at the farmers market. Farmers markets can limit themselves to only being agricultural products that are in a California certified farmers market or a different kind of farmers market definition. Or they can also include a broader community event that includes prepared foods or other types of products that might not be made with only fresh produce and other agricultural products. And that's something that can be taken account in a zoning code and that we can talk about a little bit later when we're talking about defining farmers markets. We're going to look at what communities can do to facilitate farmers markets locating within their boundaries. This means that we're going to go over some zoning codes from some different examples, including how farmers markets can be defined, take a look at where communities are allowing them to locate, and then also looking at some of the more cutting-edge tools that are being used to make sure that farmers markets really are accessible for all residents and communities. Including farmers markets as recognized uses in zoning codes is a critical way to provide them the stability they need to become an important part of a community's food system. We're going to take a look now at a few of the ways that communities have included farmers markets in their zoning codes. We're going to start by looking at how to define them. So earlier we looked at some code from LA County, and in that code we saw that instead of making a new definition for farmers markets, the locality just used an existing one. There was a state code already that included farmers markets, and they referenced it. So it makes it really clear what is a farmers market in that definition. But what about if you don't want to use their definition? Or what if there isn't one already available to you? What have communities done to try and describe farmers markets? So one way they've done that is by setting out what they sell and some of the characteristics of them. So looking at Portland's code, number 1 states that farmers markets are events, and number 2 that they include farmers, ranchers, and producers that sell food, plants, flowers, and added value products. They have grown, raised, or produced. And that's really important to note, the production aspect. That's going to prevent people from bringing in foods that are for resale that they just purchased at maybe a produce terminal, and ensure that there are really farmers at the market. The code also notes that community groups run these events and that they occur on a regular basis in the same location. So that differentiates it maybe from a pop-up, which might go to multiple locations as sort of a fun event. This is showing that a farmer's market will be in the same location providing stable food access for that community. This is just one example of a definition of a farmer's market that has made farmers markets a recognized use in the Portland Code. Let's now take a look at where farmers markets are allowed in neighborhoods. Looking at LA County's zoning code again, here's a listing of where farmers markets are allowed in that community. They're allowed in R zones, A zones, C zones, and also open space zones. In LA County, farmers markets are not only defined as recognized use and allowed in a multitude of zones, but the county also took a step further and went ahead and made some minimal permitting processes for farmers markets to locate in some of these zones. They set up an affordable director's review process so that farmers markets don't have to cross a lot of barriers in order to get to their permit. This is important because sometimes when farmers markets are required to go through a conditional use permitting process in order to locate in a particular neighborhood, it can be an insurmountable barrier for them. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and a lot of the time it's beyond the resources of the community group or the group of farmers that's working to set up the market. Additionally, you'll notice that farmers markets aren't classified as a temporary use in this code. That's another thing that can provide stability for farmers markets. By taking them out of that list of temporary uses and putting it into a defined use can really go a long way towards creating a farmer's market in one location that can be a staple of a shopper's routes each morning for years to come. SNAP is a program formerly known as food stamps, and farmers markets need to set up systems in order to be able to accept those funds. Now, this process is actually pretty simple, but once again, it's just a process that has administrative steps, and it can be a barrier to farmers markets wanting to do that and engage in the setting up of the systems it takes in order to accept those funds. So we're here at the market information booth. This is typically where you can find the area of the market where you can run your EBT card, which stores CalFresh funds, and get tokens to be used at the market. This is a really critical way to make sure the market is accessible for everyone. And this market also happens to accept funds from another program called WIC. In addition, this market participates in a program called Market Match that provides additional funds for users of SNAP and WIC in order to be able to buy additional fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, you've noticed I've used a lot of acronyms, and once we get back to the studio, I'll explain them all to you. Now, I can see that you're getting your Market Match funds. Yes. What are you going to go buy here today?
Today, I think I'm kind of traveling light today. Usually I get cauliflower and carrots, or then the following week I'll get like broccoli. So it's kind of, I rotate vegetables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It lasts me probably 3/4 of the way through the week.
Mm-hmm.
But today, because I have some other things, I'm going to get some nuts, I think.
Nice.
Nuts and pistachios, I think, because they're a heart-healthy nut,
mm-hmm.
and I have a little heart problem.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll probably spend maybe $10 on nuts today.
That's great.
And see what else they have. Fruit, probably fresh fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Plums, the plums are in season.
Yeah.
So I buy seasonal fruit,
mm-hmm.
and then mixed up with vegetables, and then nuts.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So does CalFresh and Market Match at the market help you eat healthier?
Oh, for sure. I mean, everything that we have here is healthy, and I have a choice of organic. These organic, and they not only eat healthier, but it tastes better. This guy down here sells carrots.
Mm-hmm.
They taste like real carrots. Like,
yeah.
I remember carrots when I was a kid that we grew in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
This is what a carrot tastes like. It's not something that's been stored in a warehouse for 3 weeks and then it gets to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So the food is fresher
mm-hmm.
and certified organic, a lot of it. So that's a good thing.
So that's why the market's important to you.
Definitely.
And
well,
you have your coupons, huh? You didn't show them your coupons?
And I get 10 wooden dollars for my market, and then this is for my food stamps. And then I get the Market Match, which is the city of Santa Monica. George prints these up at home, actually. And I get 10 of these that I can spend here on fresh fruits and vegetables and nuts. And then the wooden coins
mm-hmm.
I can spend at any farmer's market. So I spend some here,
mm-hmm.
and then I live right by the mm-hmm. Arizona market.
Great. So wide variety, the coins travel, and you can get all your shopping done.
Yep.
Market Match helps out in so many ways. Usually a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to afford, I can now afford. And when I come out, I know I can get all my fruits and vegetables and I don't have to really pinch the pennies. And I like the fact that it's giving people the information you can eat better, you can eat healthier. You don't have to, just because you're on public assistance, you don't have to eat ramen noodles and hot dogs.
To summarize, we've covered why farmers markets are important for health in communities, and also why they can have an important placemaking role. We also looked at how zoning codes can promote and foster the presence of farmers markets in communities and provide that stability that farmers markets need to really thrive. We also looked at how communities can work to ensure that farmers markets truly are available for all residents by requiring them to accept SNAP benefits. And then finally, took a look at how public properties can be used for farmers markets and how codes about public property usage can encourage and facilitate farmers markets to locate in those community resources. We looked at the Santa Monica Farmers Market, which is located at a library and is bustling and lively, and it would be great if more places could be like that.